Way down on the remote Baja Peninsula, you've got this place, Bahia de la Ventana. It's an absolute paradise, and it's also a playground where elite athletes are chasing world records. But here's the catch. All that high-speed action, it's happening right on top of one of the most vibrant and incredibly fragile marine ecosystems on the entire planet.
Now, you might think the government's stepping in to manage all this. Nope. The story here is about how this wild frontier is being tamed, but not from the top down. This is a story of community-led sovereignty. We're talking about the historical guardians of this land using ancient legal rights, mixing them with modern tech to basically write their own rulebook and protect what's theirs.
So let's talk about the central conflict here. The problem for Bahia de la Ventana is, well, it's a victim of its own success. They call it the Blue Desert, and its conditions are so perfect that it pulls in the best athletes from all over the world. But with all those people comes a huge and, honestly, a growing risk, not just to the athletes, but to the environment itself.
And that brings us to the big question, the one the local community had to answer. How do you manage paradise without completely destroying it? I mean, how do you welcome the world's best, host these insane high-stakes events, and still protect your home, your livelihood, and the very ecosystem that makes it all so special in the first place?
You know, the history here is really just a story of risk getting faster and faster. It starts back in the 80s with windsurfing pioneers like Bruce Matlack. Then in the 2000s, you get the kitesurfing boom, with guys like Chip Wasson leading the charge. And now, we're in the age of high-speed foiling, with champions like Daniela Moroz and Johnny Heineken just flying across the water. But it all came to a head, a near tragedy. 4 sailors just gone. The huge search and rescue that followed, well, it showed everyone that the old, informal way of doing things was stretched to its absolute breaking point.
So in the middle of that crisis, what did the community do? Did they wait for some new federal law? Not a chance. The solution was right there. They just had to look back. They activated a legal authority that was rooted in centuries of local stewardship, something that was actually written into the Mexican Constitution itself.
See, there's this amazing, direct line of succession here. The original people, the Paracu, the ocean people, were these unbelievable divers. So good, in fact, that you can literally see the evidence for it in their skeletons. And today, their spiritual and legal successors are the local families, names you hear everywhere, like the Lucero and Giraldo clans. They've shifted from fishing to become these master panga captains, and really, the guardians of the whole bay.
So where does their power come from? It's from a system called the ejido. The local communities, Agua Amarga, Los Planas, La Ventana, El Sargento, they're all organized as ejidos. It's a kind of communal land ownership. And here's the key. Under Article 27 of the Mexican Constitution, this gives them the actual legal right to create and enforce their own internal rules. So this isn't just some handshake agreement. We're talking about legitimate constitutional authority.
And with that power, they built something. They call it the Blue Desert Protocol. Think of it like a high-tech, community-run surveillance and response network. It's got one simple goal: make sure that every single person who goes out on that water comes back home safe.
You're listening to OOTO with research by El Campesino.
Okay, at the heart of this whole thing is the mandatory float plan. Before you go on any long-distance trip, you have to log your name, what color your gear is, where you're going, and who your contact on shore is. You have to give an ETA, and, this is crucial, you have to recognize that the local fishing boats, the pangas, always have priority. You have to stay 50 meters away as a clear sign of respect for the people who make their living here.
And the response system they set up, it's like clockwork. If a sailor is 30 minutes past their ETA, the shore contact starts trying to reach them. If you hit 60 minutes past ETA and there's still no contact, that's when a community safety marshal is alerted and a local search gets triggered. It's only after the local panga captains have done their search that the big guns like the Mexican Navy or SEMAR are called in. It's a smart, tiered response that puts the local experts in charge first.
And listen, these rules aren't just suggestions. They have real teeth. The Community Council has this really clear demerit system. You fail to check in once, that's a yellow card, a warning. Do it again, you get an orange card and you can't launch your boat for 7 days. But if your carelessness triggers a full search and rescue, that's a red card, a 30-day suspension. This system makes sure everyone is held accountable.
But this whole sophisticated system isn't just about protecting people. The community created a parallel set of rules to protect its most valuable ecological treasure, the incredible marine life. They call it the Orca Standard.
And the Orca Standard isn't just a nice idea. It's built on hard numbers. The local pod of Eastern Tropical Pacific orcas, there are about 22 of them.
So to protect this small, precious group, the community enforces a strict cap. No more than 16 observation boats in the area at any given time, and every single one of them has to stay at least 50 meters away.
All of this is working towards a bigger goal, creating what they call an acoustic sanctuary. Think about it. Orcas and whales, they use sound for everything, to hunt, to talk to each other. By cutting down on all that human-made engine noise, what they call acoustic smog, the community is basically preserving the integrity of their entire world. This is a super advanced conservation idea, and it's happening at the grassroots level. It's amazing.
And the result? The payoff? It's breathtaking. They call it a trust inheritance. It's a behavior that's literally being passed down from orca mothers to their calves. Generations of these animals have learned that the local pangas, often captained by community leaders like Mayra Lucero and David Giraldo, they're not a threat. They're just a neutral part of the scenery. That's the ultimate result of generations of respect. Okay, so this brings us to the big picture. This incredibly local, really sophisticated management system, it's not just a feel-good story for one little bay in Mexico. It's a powerful, and I mean replicable, blueprint for communities all over the world that are dealing with the exact same pressures from tourism and development.
You know, the community's own charter says it perfectly. Yeah, the world champions get the big headlines, but every single record set here is only possible because of the unsung champions. It's this whole ecosystem of people, from the deep, deep knowledge of Panga captains like Juan Luis Lucero to event organizers like Mark and Mary, even the musicians like Spruce who build the social fabric of the place. They are the invisible safety net that makes all the spectacular stuff possible.
Look, this community was basically facing a crossroads, two very different futures. The first is that classic story of predatory development, right? Cut-and-run projects that just suck the resources dry and leave conflict behind. They said no to that. Instead, they chose what they call the Agua America model. It means any development has to get a social license from them, it has to post a bond to fix any damage, it has to hire local people first, and it has to be committed to slow, symbiotic growth.
And that leaves us with one really critical question. In a world of globalization, of these huge extractive economies, is it possible that this small community in Baja California, by simply activating its ancient rights and embracing its role as guardians, has actually created the definitive blueprint for stewardship in the 21st century?